entrepreneurs, artists, and creators. This is Dave with Founder Dojo. Hey, welcome to episode 6. Today we're going to go a little bit deeper into slides because I've been working on my 3 mini scenes that I created and some interesting things came up. And I also want to clarify something from the previous video around clearing. So let's get into it. If you remember from last time, I'd created these 3 mini scenes: a beautiful home, living in a beautiful house in a beautiful area, lean, fit, and muscular, losing some body fat, and just getting in better shape, taking care of myself, and then generating more income. Okay, so these were my mini scenes, if you don't remember. So I've been doing these every night before I go to sleep. And sometimes a couple times during the day, if I'm feeling doubt or negative feelings or thoughts come in, I'll go back to these little mini scenes and just play them. And what's interesting is I was able to combine everything into one. But before I get into that, I want to show you like what was coming up. We talked about the clearing process of any fear-based or negative beliefs that come up while you're creating these scenes in your imagination. And I went through an abbreviated version of the clearing process where you ask 2 key questions. What would I have to believe is true about myself in order to feel this way? And then, this is unsafe because. And I just want to show an example because I went a little bit deeper into this, and I was feeling particularly uncomfortable around the idea of making, $83,000 a month or $1 million a year. And so I want to show you just an example. Like, here are some of the thoughts that came up. I'm not worthy of that much money. You see all this like stuff that comes up that you might be holding on to in your subconscious mind. And so I usually write those in purple, and then I ask myself, well, is this true? What would I have to believe is true about myself? Do I really believe that I'm not worthy? Well, no, of course not. Of course I'm worthy. I'm worthy of anything I can imagine. I'm God individualized, right? So I'm worthy of all the prosperity and abundance that I want. And so I picked up some training or some thoughts along the way that I wasn't worthy of this, and I'm just letting that stuff go. So what I do is I write like what the truth is in blue, and then I take a line and line it out. And then at the beginning of the process, I also capture my doubt score and my unsafe score. So my doubt score was 5. By the time I got through, and you really want to dig deep and you want to be brutally honest about whatever thoughts or feelings that are coming up and put them into this process so that you can let them go. And at the end of it, my doubt score was down to 0. I had no doubt that I live in the world where I'm making $1 million a year, millions of dollars a year actually, doing what I love, and that there's nothing unsafe about it. Okay, so I just want to show you this as an example. And one of the things I do is I kind of, at the end of this process, I summarize kind of what I'm feeling right now, this place that I'm in. I am God individualized. I can have or do or be anything I want. I've made this much money before, and I can do other things. I'm having a hard time reading this. Plus a lot more because I've expanded my consciousness and I hold more light. Okay, so I keep expanding. That expansion allows me to hold more light, which means I can hold more prosperity and abundance. I'm curious to learn what I'm capable of at this stage of my evolution. Let the abundance and prosperity flow. So this is like where I ended up after this process. So like I said, in the program that I teach on Founder Dojo or at Founder Dojo, which you can check out at founderdojo.com/manifest, we go through all this stuff in detail, and I walk you through it step by step. I'll hold your hand to make sure you're doing this process correctly and getting the maximum benefit out of it. So if you're interested in that, go check out founderdojo.com/manifest and sign up. Okay, so what happened through this process is I was doing these 3 scenes, and I started to realize, well, there's another scene. I was kind of the townhouse. I was kind of selling myself a little bit short because I don't really want a townhouse. What I want is like a nice beach house on the beach. That's what I really want. And so I was doing the townhouse as kind of like an interim step, but that's not my job. The quantum field will create whatever bridge experiences I need. All I need to do is focus on what I really want. So would I rather have a beach house on Jupiter Island, or would I rather have a townhouse in the suburbs somewhere? Well, that's an obvious answer. I would rather have the beach house at Jupiter Island. So then I switched to that, and then I realized, hey, there's a scene here that could encompass everything. It could encompass financial prosperity, which comes from a successful business, I assume. It would encompass my health and fitness, and would encompass my romantic partner, sweet, sexy, spiritual girl who adores me, and our 2 kids and our beautiful family. And so the scene is a morning kayak. I love kayaking. I've been kayaking for, 20 years or so. I started kayaking on Lake Michigan when I lived in Chicago. And then when I went to Seattle, I bought my first sea kayak. And I've been traveling all over the country, kayaking everywhere I can get a chance. And when I was in South Florida, of course, there's an abundance of kayaking because the water is everywhere. And I just really love it. And I haven't been kayaking in a couple of years because I've been in Raleigh, North Carolina. And there are lakes around, but I don't know, just for some reason, it's not the same as being on the ocean. So I haven't really done it. So the question is, there's 2 things we need to consider. One is our state of consciousness, and the other is the target slide of what we want to create. So let's go through the state of consciousness first. And before we get into that, let me tell you the scene. So here's the scene. I'm in my kitchen in my dream beach house, and I'm taking some ice out of the freezer to put in my CamelBak bag. I have a CamelBak hydration bag that's designed to fit on top of a kayak. So I'm filling that up with ice and water, and I'm zipping it up, and then my partner comes in, my sweet, sexy, spiritual girl who adores me. She comes in, she sees what I'm doing because this is part of my normal morning routine, and she says, hey, be careful out there. And I said, oh, don't worry, baby. Why would I leave this beautiful life and my sweet, sexy, spiritual girl and our beautiful family? Why would I ever leave this? I'm loving it here. And so then I walk out. I go down to the beach where my kayak is resting in a secure place high up on the dune. And I pick it up and I put it into the water with the stern pointing out to help keep any rocks or sand out of the rudder. It's a retractable rudder mechanism. And then I put my paddle in there, and I strap on the CamelBak bag to the front decking, and I look back to the house, and I see my girl waving to me. She's like, be careful. So I give her the thumbs up. I turn back to the ocean, and I'm just in awe of how beautiful and expansive and large it is. And so I get into the kayak, I push off, I turn around and start paddling, and that's the scene. Okay, so it encompasses everything. The tone of it is, success, living on Jupiter Island in my dream house, enjoying life with my beautiful family. My thoughts and beliefs are, I am the creator and operant power. Like, this is for sure at this point. There's no doubt, because look at what I've been able to create. I am successful and prosperous. I am loved and cared for. My feelings are one of love, appreciation, and joy. My actions are, I build startups, I build teams, I build businesses, I spend time with my family. I should put that on here. I was running out of room. But just everything that I'm doing to enjoy and live that life. It's a beautiful, beautiful scene, isn't it? Is it not? Is it not? The circumstances are, I sold Sea Value for $100 million. I'm fit, healthy, and muscular. I'm living in a dream house, and I have a loving, caring, romantic relationship with my girl. We have 2 beautiful children. And every morning I get up and I kayak and I exercise. And it's just wonderful, and it's just beautiful. And this is the scene that makes me feel so good that I'm accessing now every night, and typically in the morning too, and sometimes a couple times throughout the day. So I wrote out the whole scene as well. The reason I created the scene is I actually wrote it out, and I won't go through it all because I just gave you the narrated version. But this was helpful for me to crystallize in my imagination what this scene looks like. So I wrote it out. I read it to myself to kind of lock it in. And now, of course, I do it from memory, which is super easy to remember because I created it and it has so many positive feelings. So anyway, this is the process. We've been going through a number of steps here so far. And just to give you a little bit of a summation of where where I think we are right now in this process, is, back from the abyss. This is the rebuilding process. The first step was to replenish your life force, replenish your energy by taking care of yourself, eating good food, eating healthy food, eating natural foods that are not processed. I'm doing a carnivore diet, which is working really well for me, and get back to exercise every day. Now, I haven't been able to do it every day, but I'm doing it often, and really the nutrition has given me more energy to want to exercise more. So this is step one. You really can't get off the mat when you're at rock bottom. You can't even get off the mat if you're not replenishing your energy. This is so, so critical. You don't have the energy to shift your reality frames if you're just depleted. Clarity. What do you want? You remember I was going through a number of startup projects. Things have kind of coalesced around C-value, which I think is our best idea. In fact, I know it's our best idea right now. And I had a resource that popped up recently, a potential guy who's going to help us build the MVP for this. We're getting a lot of traction in my mind and in my consciousness that C-value is the thing to focus on. And so I'm letting go of all other projects to do that. The slides, we just talked about the slides. You got to have a target slide of what you want, where you're going, and then clearing any fear-based or negative beliefs that are coming. So we've got 5 or 6 more bullets on this list that we're going to get to over the next few episodes. So continue to tune in if you're interested. And if you have any thoughts or questions about this, like or subscribe, make comments, check out founderdojo.com. And I appreciate you guys very much, and talk to you next time.